Hi, I'm Olivia. Thank you for tuning in. So today we are mainly focusing on your feet, which is an area I really like working with. By some estimates, the soles of your feet are the fourth most innervated area in your body. So we have got the potential to feel a lot of stuff with them. And I have been doing this kind of work in my in-person classes recently, and it's proved kind of popular. So here, this is for you in our on-demand library. So let's start standing. If you've got socks on, let's have them off. Some of your feet about hip width apart, and just look down at them. Press down a little bit more through your big toes. And see if not just the actual toe itself, you can press through the joint where it attaches to your foot. So not just the toe, but we could call that the base of your big toe. And then see if you can also press through the base of your little toe. So the joint where your little toe attaches into your foot. And also press through heels. And maybe rock a little bit forwards and a little bit back. Feel how when you rock forwards, your toes naturally dig into the floor to stop you falling over. And then as you rock back, your toes get lighter and your heels dig down. And maybe just do that a couple of times and kind of make those rocks gradually smaller and smaller until you might settle somewhere where it feels fairly even, the weight distribution between your toes and your heels. And then now thinking about just one foot, I'm going to start with my right foot. I want you to imagine that the floor, if you're on a yoga mat, you can think about the surface of the mat or just the floor that you're on, it's like with your foot, you're trying to scrunch it up. Or if they say there was a tissue underneath your foot, you're trying to pick it up. So with your toes, grip the floor and try and scrunch up the surface of the floor. And then flatten your feet out again and scrunch. And just keep working with this. So things you want to look out for is as you scrunch your toes, your foot might want to roll out to the side. So your outer ankle tips out. Try and minimize that. So you're not going side to side. You're just lifting up. So your toes grip the floor. The ball of your foot, which is the wide part below your toes, lifts up. And just maybe the tip of your big toe is on the floor. And then we spread them again and ball of foot comes down and then toes. And just keep them going with that. So I picked this up off a trainer friend of mine who works with dancers who obviously want to have very strong feet. And it might be after a few rounds, you can start to feel stuff working in your feet. Maybe it's fatiguing. Do you feel it around your big toe, the soles of your foot, in the arches, maybe? And then let's try other foot. So your toes are gripping the floor and then almost trying to pick the floor up and then place it back down. Grip the floor, try and pick it up and place it back down. You might be doing this the same pace as me. You might be doing it faster, slower. We're just making sure we do quite a few repetitions so that those muscles have time to, one, work out what you're asking them to do, and then two, perhaps fatigue a little. Okay. And then if you are on a yoga mat, let's come and stand towards the front of it. See if you can pick up just your big toes, but keep all the small ones on the floor. And if the answer is no, you might want to reach down with your hands and just try and help them out. So little toes are pressing down, big toes picking up. And then maybe see if big toes can press down, but those little ones can all pick up. And perhaps alternate through that a few times. And as you're doing that, see if you can feel your feet working. Like, where do you feel the effort? Is it like in the sides of your feet, underneath? Is it in your toes? Do you feel it back towards your heels? And then pick up all 10 toes if possible, spread them, put them out. Again, if that's not happening for you, you can reach down with your hands, spread them out, put them down. Try and make the weight even between those 3 points again. So the base of your big toe, the base of your little toe, and center of heel. And then keep that as you start to tip forwards from your hips. Feel when you do that. So for some people, your weight will all go back in your heels. And for some, it will shift forwards into toes. Can you try and keep the weight feeling fairly even between toes and heels as you fold forwards? You might want to bend your knees a bit on the way down. Once you're there, plant your hands on the floor. So again, bend your knees as much as you need to do that. And step your feet back to downward facing dog. So hands are pushing the floor away. Legs are pushing floor away. Tailbone is going up and back in center. Next time you inhale, lift both heels, come way up onto tiptoes, but you're not shifting forwards to plank. You're still sending hips up and back. As you exhale, press heels down towards the floor. Great. Inhale, come right up onto tiptoes. Exhale, press your heels down. Okay, bend your left knee, press your right heel down towards the floor. And then keeping your right heel pressing down, lift your left leg up and back behind you. Just as much until you might get a signal in that bottom leg that it's time to stop going any higher. And then step your foot forwards between your hands. If it doesn't get all the way there, you could grab it and bring it. Stay up on your tiptoes, back foot, and then bring yourself up into a lunge. Prop your hands onto your hips. Okay, now paying attention to your back foot, slowly start to lower that heel down towards the floor. It's probably not going to go all the way. You can see that mine doesn't. And then push the floor away, come onto tiptoes again. Yep, slowly lower down towards floor. And then push floor away, come onto tiptoes. And just a couple more times. Yeah, so we're switching on the muscles in your lower legs. They live in your shin and your calves, the muscles that help point and flex your foot. Next time you come up onto tiptoes, back foot, pause like that. Reach both your arms up to the ceiling. If this next bit gets too wobbly, you can drop your back knee down. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, reach your right arm forwards and your left arm back. Feel if you can make the weight even through your back foot. Is your back foot starting to twist? And then slowly drop your front hand down onto the floor, inside front foot. Push down into that hand, turn your chest to the left, reach your other arm up. So check out your front foot now. You might find that your front knee is wanting to turn out. Can you press down evenly through your big toe as much as you are through your little toe? Take a breath in like that. As you breathe out, both hands down, step back, downward facing dog. And then let's bend your right knee, press your left heel down. Keep your left heel pressing down, lift your right leg up, and then step that foot forwards into a lunge. Tiptoes back foot, bring yourself up, prop your hands on your hips. Okay, so front foot is super solid, still those same points of contact, big toe, little toe, center of heel, they're all feeling even. And then thinking about your back foot, slowly lower that heel down towards the floor just until it stops. And then push the floor away, come onto tiptoes. And a couple of times, if this starts to feel a bit much in the big toe of your back foot, you just don't come up so high. So it might be that your ankle moves more than mine. It might be that it doesn't move as much. That's okay. Just people's ankles are made differently. Next time you're up on your tiptoes, back foot, pause like that. Reach both your arms up to the ceiling. Okay, and then trying to keep your feet feeling even, reach your left arm forwards and your right arm back. So you end up turning your chest towards the right side of your room. Inhale, reach through your left hand. Exhale, drop that hand down to the inside of your front foot. So you're still way up on tiptoes, back foot. Your front knee is just tracking straight over your ankle, so it might want to turn out. That's not mega dangerous or wrong, but we're just thinking about keeping foot even. And then while maintaining that, push the floor with your bottom hand and turn your chest. Great. When you're done, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Then let's drop your knees down onto the floor. Untuck your toes. sit back onto your heels into a child's pose. So if for you, this position creates a stretch down, maybe the top of your foot, the front of your ankle are up into your shin, then you're all good. I just want you to stay exactly where you are. If it gets too much, you lift your bum higher. If you don't really feel anything around front of foot or shin, then maybe let's try sitting up on your heels. Okay. If you sit up on your heels and you're like, oh, actually, that's too much, go back down to where you were, maybe with hands on floor. If you're on your heels and this possibly still isn't getting anything for the front of your foot, then put your fingertips on the floor just a little bit behind you and lean back just slightly until maybe knees might pick up. And then slowly release that. And let's come up to stand. Okay. So stand with your feet hip width apart again. And first of all, I want you to roll to the outsides of your feet. So big toe side of foot, you're probably going to pick up off the floor. You end up on the outer edge of your foot. And then bring that down and go the opposite way. Roll to inner edge. So little toe side of foot lifts up. And just roll in side to side. So if you've got maybe flat feet or high arches, it might be that rolling one way is super easy and rolling the other way is uncomfortable or just difficult. If anything feels like tweaky in your knee or your ankles, you just back off. So we're just going side to side. So at the moment, as I'm rolling side to side, my toes are lifting. Now I want you to plant your toes on the floor and don't let your big or little toes lift, but keep trying to roll side to side. So you've got, you know where your arch of your foot is. That's along the big toe side. There's another, well, there's more than another one, but the other one we're working with at the moment runs along the little toe side of your foot. So as you roll towards little toe side, it's like you're picking up your inner arch more. And as you roll towards big toe side, it's like you're picking up outer arch more. And same as we did when we're rocking backwards and forwards, now make that rocking side to side get less and less and less until you get to a point where it feels, and maybe if you look down at your feet, it might look like both sides of your feet, both arches are kind of suctioning in and up. We're going to be thinking about working with your arches in the next couple of postures we're going for. So from here, let's step your feet out wide and turn. I'm going to go right toes. I'm not going to mirror you because I'm not sure which way you're facing your screen. So when I say right, I'm going to do my right. I'm going to turn my right toes out 90 degrees and bend that knee to warrior two. Okay. So first of all, thinking about whether you can maybe be reasonably even in the weight between your big toe and your little toe and your back foot. That might be a little bit more difficult because of that slightly interesting angle we have our back foot at in warrior two. Now with your front foot, see if you can pick your toes up and spread them. And again, if that doesn't happen for you, you could always reach down with your fingers and just help your toes pick up. Okay, you can have your arms out like normal warrior two. You could have hands in prayer or kind of hands on your hips, whatever's working for you. As you're picking your toes up, see if you can feel where the effort from that is coming from. Do you feel anything around arches, maybe kind of up into your ankles, into lower legs? And then try and keep that feeling of work going on around ankles and lower leg as you just slowly bring your toes back down. Okay, perfect. Then next time you inhale, straighten your front leg. Keep it straight. Exhale, reach through your right fingertips. Triangle pose, front arm down, back arm picks up. Turn your head, look down at your front foot. You might put your top hand on your top hip because we're thinking mainly lower body today. Notice in your triangle pose, do you tend to lean onto one side or the other? So I think it's a little bit more common. I tend to see more in class, people roll towards the little toe side of their foot. I definitely get that. If you feel like that's happening to you, can you press a bit more down through your big toe and almost think about lifting up outer arch, little toe side of foot? And then keep your foot feeling that even, rebend your knee, arms reach out, warrior two. Okay. From here, flip your front palm to face the ceiling. On an inhale, reach your front arm up, let your back hand drop down towards the floor. Okay, perfect. So in this position, it's super common. I see people leaning in on the inner edge of their foot, and you'll look down, you might see your knee turns in a little bit. To minimize that, can you press down through the little toe side of your front foot and think about lifting up inner arch front foot? Next time you inhale, come back up, warrior two. Great. Exhale, straighten front leg, hands on hips. Let's do the same stuff on the other side. So swivel on your feet so they're parallel, and then turn other foot out 90 degrees. Bend that knee. Great. Look down at your front foot. If possible, pick your toes up and spread them. If not possible, reach down with your hands and help them out. It might be that your feet start to get tired. If you need to bring your toes down and then come back in again, that would be reasonable. So if you're kind of coming in and out, or if you've held your toes there this whole time, just feel in where that effort's coming from. Do you just feel it in your toes? Do you feel it in the arches, the sole of your foot? Do you feel it up into lower leg, so shin, front side, or calf, back side? Try and keep that feeling of effort going as you just bring your toes down. Keep feeling that even on the floor as you straighten your front leg. Yeah, perhaps as you next inhale, tilt sideways, reach with left arm. Exhale, front hand down. Let's go back hand on back hip, just so we're keeping all of our attention around lower body. Look down at your front foot. Notice, are you leaning to one side or the other? Like, do you lean to little toe side and maybe your big toe gets light and kind of waves? Or do you do the opposite and roll in? If you're feeling completely even, all good. If you're feeling like you're leaning one side or the other, can you press down the light side and think about lifting up the arch on the heavy side of your foot? On an inhale, come back up, warrior two. So rebend your front knee, reach both arms out. Exhale, flip front palm to face the ceiling. Pause there. So we know that we're going for reverse warrior, and more often than not, people's front knees will turn in. I'm not sure if I've ever observed anyone's front knee turning out in reverse warrior. So to just preempt that, press down through the base of your little toe and think about lifting up the inner arch on your front foot. And then when you're ready, drop your back hand down and reach your front arm up. Yeah, great. On an inhale, come back up, warrior two. Exhale, straighten front leg, hands on hips. Let's swivel on your feet again, so feet are parallel. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, fold forwards, fingertips down onto floor, or you could grab a prop, a block, or something similar to put your hands on. Okay, and then just wiggle your feet out until they stop. So I want us to play around a little bit with the control of your ankles. So in this position, the wider your legs go, obviously, like the more that ankle is bending sideways. So see if you can, a little bit, lift up the outer edge of your foot. You might think about kind of spreading your toes to activate the muscles that kind of run up past your ankle. So that now your foot is more in line with your shins. So if you look at me, it looks like I'm on the inner edges of my feet. And then let's start to wiggle your feet in again. So heel toe them towards each other. Okay. Keep your block with you because you might want it for where we're going next. Let's have your right foot forwards. Drop the block down by your front foot. Step your left foot back into a warrior one stance. So if I do that from the other side, you can see that my back toes are turned out just a little bit. My heels down on the floor. If that's uncomfy, you could be up on tiptoes in a lunge like we did before. Okay. And then reach both arms up to ceiling. Take your attention down to your back foot and feel those 3 points, little toe, big toe, heel. What's going on with the weight distribution there? Because this is also an interesting angle for back foot. Next time you inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, put hands on hips. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold forwards over your front leg. You might slide your hands down and rest them on your leg. You might grab your prop, put your hands on it. You might put hands on the floor if floor is comfortably within reach. It's not better or worse, just different. And then look at your front foot. Big toe, little toe, center of heel. We're making those even. I want you to keep them feeling even. Keep pressing down through your big toe in particular. Keep your left hand on whatever it's on. Put your right hand on your right hip. Slowly start to turn your belly button, your ribs, your chest towards the right side of your room or your space. And then maybe reach that arm up to the ceiling. Okay, turn your head, look down at that front foot. Are you rolling maybe towards the little toe side? If so, can you press down big toe, lift up, outer arch, and then slowly untwist. Step forwards to a standing forward fold and come up to stand. Okay, let's step your other foot back. So right foot's going to be back. I'm going to swivel around so I don't end up facing away from you. You step your right foot back into a decent step. Toes turning out a little bit, heel turning in a little bit. Bend your front knee, reach arms up. We're in warrior one. Remember, your alternative is to be up on your tiptoes in a lunge. That'll work super well. Next time you inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, put hands on hips. Breath in where you are. Breath out, fold forwards. Okay, keep breathing slow. Slide your hands down, maybe just down your leg until they stop. Or you could put them on a prop, you could put them on the floor, whatever works. So feeling what's going on with back foot, you might be getting a sensation of stretch in back leg, you might be getting that in your front leg. Keep your right hand on what it's on, put left hand on left hip. Slowly start to turn your belly, ribs, and chest to the left. And then look down at your front foot again. Are you leaning towards that outer edge? If so, can you press down big toe, lift up outer arch, maybe reach top arm up to ceiling? Yes, perfect. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, untwist. Let's just step to the front of your mat. You can put the block to one side. Okay, great. Next time you inhale, reach your arms forwards and up. Keep them up. As you exhale, bend your knees, sit your hips down and back into a chair pose. Okay, I'm going to bring my hands to prayer. Makes me easier to look at you. If you want to bring your hands to prayer, fine. If you prefer having them overhead, also fine. Now look down at your feet. Keep pressing down through your big toes because they're going to want to roll out to little toe side. Lift your heels, maybe a little, maybe a lot. So you're anchoring down big toes. And then nice and slow, see how slowly, slowly, slowly you can lower down to maybe sit on your heels. Okay, perfect. It might be that your bum doesn't meet your heels. That's okay. Now I want us to see how close we can get your heels to the floor without your bum touching the floor. It might be all the way, or it might just be a bit. So reach your arms forwards. They're going to act as kind of a counterbalance. Lean your upper body way, way, way forwards. And then slowly start to lower your heels down. So mine touch the floor. They've just always been able to do that. Yours might not. That's okay. And from here, we're going to sit on your bum. So you might keep your arms forwards, or you might take your hands down to act as brakes. Heels down, bum down. Lift your feet. Hook your hands around the backs of your legs. So we're in boat pose. Look at your feet and just point and flex your feet a bit. Maybe draw some circles with ankles. Okay. And then bring your feet down onto the floor. Feet together, knees apart. You could sit up on your block if you wanted to. And just with your thumbs, just give the soles of your feet a bit of a massage. So you could be working like a stroking action with your thumbs. You could be maybe pressing in with your thumb and kind of almost feeling like you're drilling a little circle, and then shift to another point, press in, kind of draw a little circle. Yeah, so working all the way up towards that kind of padded bit below your toes, the ball of your foot, down through the middle, through the arches. How does it feel to do that in your heel? You can also have a go at your knuckles if that feels nice. Okay. And then let's come to lie down on your back. Knees bent, feet flat. And if you're familiar with bridge pose, let's have your feet a decent step further away from your bum than you might have them for normal bridge pose. And flex your feet so you're up on your heels. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, dig your heels down and lift your bum. You don't have to think super high back bend. You could almost think more like Pilates bridge if you're familiar with that, where it's more like a straight line. And just a bit with your heels, imagine you're trying to pull the mat towards your head. And then slowly come down. Feet flat on the floor, and then walk them in towards you a step. This time, see if you can come up onto the balls of your feet, lift your heels, and then again, lift up bridge pose. And then come down. Great. Bring one knee into your chest, other leg straight along the floor. Let's send that top leg up towards the ceiling. If it feels like it needs support, you could hold on to it. Otherwise, you could just send it up. And again, just draw some circles with that foot. If the circling is feeling nice, you might want to stick with that. If you'd rather have a brief twist, then now hug that knee into your chest. And just for a couple of breaths, use your opposite hand to take your knee across your body. If you're in a twist, let's come back up and then switch legs, send other leg up towards ceiling or sky. You could make your leg hold itself, so that's a bit more strengthening for leg, or you could hold on. And again, just pointing and flexing. Keep doing that. Open that knee into your chest and take it across your body. Brief twist. And then let's untwist. Rock your way up to sit. You might want to sit up on your block. Just going to finish just with a minute of seated quiet. If you prefer, in fact, to spend that lying down your back, you're welcome to. You may want to sit up on your block for just a minute, seated meditation. You could sit cross-legged. If you're going cross-legged and that gets uncomfortable in your ankles, you could maybe put a bit of padding underneath. I'm going to, in fact, tuck my legs back alongside me, so I'm resting on my shins. Find a comfy position for your arms. If you're sitting, you might rest hands in lap. If you're lying, they could be by your side or on belly. If you feel comfortable to close your eyes, then you are welcome to. And just breathing normally. Notice whether you can feel your feet. So is there any residual sensation in your toes from what we were just doing? Maybe you can feel the soles of your feet, the remnants of when you were massaging using your thumbs. feel which parts of your feet are resting on something. So it might be floor or prop. And what the texture of that feels like on the skin on your feet. Become aware also of your breathing. Not trying to control it, just watching as it comes and goes. Each time your mind wanders, you can just put wherever it's wandered to aside. Come back to feeling your breath. Maybe looking for any residual sensation in feet. And if you want to stay where you are a bit longer, you are, of course, very welcome to. If you just had this increment of time set aside, then maybe take a couple of deeper breaths. You might wriggle your toes a bit. If you are lying, come up and join us sitting. Whatever sitting position you've chosen, so whether you're on your heels, or on a block like I am, or you're cross-legged, you might just be able to get your knuckles in the soles of your feet for just one more little rub. And then decide if you want to continue with that to finish, or maybe bring palms together. Either way, let's take another inhale together. So breath in, sit tall. Breath out, drop your chin. And thank you very much.